So, hello, welcome back to another episode of the Naked Podcast. No, Self-Development with Tactics Podcast. But yeah, I am shirtless. I'm sorry for that. I'm not gonna wear one just because I do want to record now. Today we're gonna go through some Reddit things, as you can see on the left side of the screen. Why? Just because I feel like doing so a bit more than going through Transcend by Scott Barry Kaufman once again. I don't know why, but it is just what it is. I do have quite a bit of time left till I have to go and do something else, but I also need to do quite a bunch of things like tidying up, Half of my day kind of feels like tidying up, doing the dishes, trying to make sure that, nothing is laying around as it is right now. And it really does make sense to incorporate certain systems into your life so that you never get into the position of being overwhelmed by the amount of dirt and shit that is laying around, which is the case for me quite often and sometimes. And so I do need to figure out a way in which I can deal with my laundry. This is something that pisses me off. And also dishes and dirty like plastic containers like yogurt and whatnot. I don't know yet how I'm gonna do that. I don't know in which way I could be going about that. I just thought about like another container, just always having one container for all the dirty things that might be laying around in my room. But this container must be fairly big. But could actually work. Really could work, because most often there's one, then there is just some plastic containers, as I said. So maybe, just maybe, this would actually be quite a good idea. Gonna do that afterwards, Sometimes it is actually indeed about creating systems and ways in which you could just be doing all day things or everyday things, so that you're going to be able to be way more efficient and, also way more comfortable. And it is going to just feel easier for one compared to just the original or old way or whatever it might be. As well as I just created this stand thing so that I do not have to deal with the fucking microphone not working in the way I wanted to. It's also one of the reasons why I built some, I don't know if you can see this in the background, but this is a place to put my shoes made out of cardboard. Yeah, quite a ton of things in my flat I made of cardboard. First of all, just because I don't want to buy myself some organizer thing. And second of all, it just works very well. I do have a place to put my shoes at, and they look tied up and everything is fine. So why shouldn't I be working this way? Anyway, enough talking, more going through Reddit things. Stoicism. This sub has been hijacked. There are too many posts on this sub that are focused on self-help and life complaints. Stoicism isn't a fix-it-all solution. It was never meant to be. It is a philosophy that requires reading and application to your everyday life. As much as we want to help others, the constant posts of "this person did X to me and now I feel sad, mad, please tell me how I should feel" or not helpful, nor are they in line with Stoicism. It is unfortunate that this sub has turned into a self-pity and self-help hub, instead of real discussions about the philosophy and how it can it be applied to our lives. And there's actually quite a bunch of likes, 614, but also 89 comments, which is quite a bunch. And there's actually a mod named GOWOR, so Gover, might be. I'm sticking this comment to the top so people who share OP's concerns can find a solution created for them right away. This has been discussed before. It is possible to view the subreddit without these posts. Details can be found here. What did the Stoics do when troubled students or even non-Stoics sought help with their troubles? They tried to help them. As benefits a good neighbor and fellow citizen, this article is worth reading. 2 types of Stoic therapy. Additionally, you may easily filter out advice posts so that you do not see them. Well, I gotta be honest, I kind of do understand this person's concerns and thoughts that it might indeed be a bit disturbing and might indeed be just getting into a direction or moving into a direction that might not be intended to be, might not be great to be. But in the end, like, yeah, okay, when there is somebody that needs help, why shouldn't you help this person? And obviously these people are trying to find a way in which they can deal with things from stoicism. They could obviously also just post in other subreddits, but they just want to have stoic advice, unless they really are indeed searching for just general advice, which they may not find here. And or mods might actually also delete these posts, when they're not considered to be somehow relevant to stoicism and or the stoicism subreddit, which is about stoicism, period. Which may or may not be actually pretty difficult, because when somebody's seeking for help, depends on the situation, depends on the thing they're asking for. But, can mods actually delete those things? I don't know, like, is this stoic in it and of itself? I don't know, like, and I think as well, this should not be made into a meta thing, as I now said, like, okay, is doing this and that and these and those as a reply to this and that and these and those really stoic in it of itself? This I think shouldn't be done, because this is gonna get into a pretty fucking deep spiral of, okay, is this really the right thing to do? Is that really the right thing to do? Like, no, this is a fucking stoicism subreddit. It should be about stoicism, discussions about that, but as well about advice, I would say, like both. And in the end, it really is about the people that are in this subreddit. And if things are if people need more advice than they need just great discussions about stoicism per se, like, what should you be doing? Like, this is what people apparently need from stoicism at this point in time. But very difficult situation, very difficult thing. How to fix extreme laziness brought on from a sedentary lifestyle to get back to being a normal, high-achieving person. So I'll prefect this by fully owning up to the fact that I haven't been as high-functioning of a person as I should be for quite a while now. It started off as fear and depression, then gradually over time turned into a reticence to really push myself to do anything even remotely, quote-unquote, difficult. Then eventually become a complete cycle of laziness and being a... I hope you're not hearing this too loudly. Where have I stopped? Then eventually became a complete cycle of laziness and being near complete shut in, and the notion of doing much of anything and moving my ass, or being out in public or interacting with people, or even really using my mind or self-control to do anything more difficult than wallowing around in despair, literally feels impossible for me. So in this state, I have become completely negligent and sometimes just let things I'm technically supposed to do just slide. Well, I think a good fix for that is starting to do something. Like, I do see the motivation, I do see concerns, and I do see the willingness to change something about that. But in the end, it is about changing something. It not really is about, talking about that, thinking about that, and trying to figure out ways in which you could be doing that. But in the end, it's just the action per se, and the action itself, which is gonna change things. And so gradually trying to, as you might be doing it with dieting, or actually should be doing it with dieting, if you diet down for, a contest, for example, or a competition or whatever, then afterwards gradually increasing your body fat percentage once again is the healthy thing to do. But gradually, not really pumping up your calories like insanely. This is not going to be healthy. It's not going to be good for you. It's not going to give your body the right, the right amount of time for indeed recovering and indeed being able to just deal with this situation. And it is the exact same thing with this situation as well, and this context as well. Like, gradually exposing yourself to more work and more work and more work until you actually are at this point at which you would like to be at. And period. That is quite it. Like, it's actually an underlying question, like, on the how the hell do I snap out of this and start being a fully thinking normal human again? Can anyone even faintly relate to this, or am I the only loser who's ever experienced this? And having people scrutinize me these days only makes it worse, usually, rather than motivating me to stop, because I guess on some level it has become learned helplessness. And so if someone criticizes me, again, mainly parents, for underperforming or fucking up, rather than feeling healthy, shame like I used to, and using it as a catalyst to stop being a lazy fuck up and correct the behavior, it's like I think I can't change it anyway, and then get extremely angry at them because it just feels like a personal attack. And in general, this is a way too long sentence. I just hate being treated like some sort of an idiot. I need help. Well, for starters, way more self-love. You can't bully yourself into becoming a better version of yourself, and that is as well the thing. What you've described as quite common self-sabotage. We have all been there, but it can become a repeating cycle when you beat yourself. When you beat yourself up. Blah 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 blah. Maybe make some appointments for things you enjoy at first and work your way up to less desirable tasks when you are feeling up to it. There is no rush there. They're not on this planet to be highly productive. Which is actually indeed the case. We are not on this fucking planet to be quote-unquote productive. We are on this planet to quite survive. Concerning situation might be when you're so unproductive that you're not able to exist anymore. You're not having a job, therefore no money, therefore no food. This is not a great position to be in. This is not a great situation to be in. But in the end, it is, and often is about, in life at least, that we have made up certain rules, certain concepts of life that ultimately can just be changed by thinking about things in different ways, and by realizing that this is not obligatory. I do not have to just live in a house. I could also live in a forest if I choose to do so. I could be doing this. I'm not obligated to live in a house. I'm also not obligated to have a job. I'm not obligated to go to school. I'm not obligated to live a quote unquote normal life as it is meant by the general society. Going to school, having a job, maybe having a family, just living in a house, living in a home, living in a flat, whatever. This is something we made up, as money per se is. The thing is, you just need to eat something. As it is, and this is a very extreme example and maybe thought about cautiously, stealing food is bad because we made it bad. Back in very ancient times, I'd say, when we all have been cavemen and cavewomen, stealing was just something that happened. Of course it pissed other people off, but when this is a person you really don't care about, why should you as well? You want to survive, not this other person, this person that is a complete stranger to you. Then stealing from this person per se might have not been something bad. Of course, now thinking about it, it seems to be something bad, but it maybe lets you survive. So in the end, a ton of concepts that we made up are just, made up. And it's just something that we make ourselves do. Do we really have to do those things? No, we don't. It is something that we choose to do, and it's something that that is part of our system. But you could also just choose to not be a part of that system. It is things that often also inside of the system that is given by the general society, by things, we also create systems for ourselves. And opinions, expectations as well, for ourselves, for our life, for how we do things, and yada, 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 that do not have to be the case, I don't have to work out, I choose to. I don't have to do it. Nobody cares about that, but I care about that because I have chosen at some point in my life that it is something important for me. I don't have to have a healthy diet. I could eat shit every fucking single day. I could also eat nothing. I'm gonna die eventually, but I could. You know? A ton of things are just made up by us. A ton of systems, a ton of concepts are made up. So is, X, Y, and Z bad? Well, no, it's probably something that we made up as well. Is X, Y, and Z good? Well, unless it kind of helps you to survive and or reproduce, I don't know. No, not something good. It's just that. It's just something. Suggestions for books to improve my relationship with women and what healthy relationships with women look like. I'm not looking for self-help books, but just books showing examples of healthy male-female romantic relationships. I'm a 23-year-old man, if that makes any difference. Might actually. The 10 best ways to find suppliers in 2021 probably. I am 1 year sober today. It's been a challenge, but I made it and I am proud of it. Wanted to share it with someone. That's great. I appreciate that. I'm gonna upvote that, therefore. Today I learned Harrison Ford was frozen in The Empire Strikes Back because unlike Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, Ford had only signed on for 2 films. After the success of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Lucas didn't think Ford would return for the 3rd Star Wars film, but left him frozen just in case. Makes sense, from a story arc perspective and thing. School, today was the first time I handed in my assignment for school on time. I know for others that's simple, but I've never been more proud of myself, and that is amazing. And once again, this is a concept and a thing that we made up, or this person made up for him or herself. This person didn't have to do this, didn't have to feel good about that, didn't even have to feel bad about that. It is about our values. It is about things that we value. It's about things that we made up. It is about things that, that just are like we want them to be. But in the end, if you think things through and if you think about life in that way, then I guess one very, very quickly could get into a pretty strange place. So as I said, one should think about that in a very cautious way. And, I would say that sometimes it is actually good to not think about things and rather try to just be happy and feel good, period. But yeah, I'm gonna end the episode there. So I wish you the best. See you soon and bye-bye.